Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to snow there again at Old Faithful in Yellowstone Supervolcano. This hill here I've often talked about is one of the two resurgent domes at Yellowstone. Most volcanoes only have one resurgent dome, but Yellowstone has two. And this hill is caused by the uplift of the Mallard Lake resurgent dome that we see on the live camera here at Old Faithful. There's been a few earthquakes, and I've talked about this before, earthquakes that have occurred that USGS doesn't report. There was one in Utah recently. I'm going to show you that. They're also looking at Lion, I believe. I might be wrong on the name. I haven't looked it up. Anyways, I wanted to point out these dead trees that were in the back here. That are dying off because of the recharging up at the top here of the volcano. These grew up during what was considered a quiet period when there was no gases, and Yellowstone was considered dormant or an extinct. Remember when they used to say it was an extinct volcano and not a chance of erupting? Well, it is recharging, and we have signs of the recharging by the gases that are killing off these trees that grew up during the quiet period. So here on EMSC, there was a magnitude 2.6, Utah, at 15:02 Universal Time. You'll notice here it's not being reported. We do have a 2.9 reported at 15:36 Universal Time, but this was at 15:02. The listing right here is Utah, and then I was looking through here, and they have other earthquakes, but they're listed as southern Idaho. There's the 2.9, and there's the 2.6. So looking at the monitor for the western boundary, using the program Swarm, here is that time frame of the earthquake, 15:02. And let's look at the signature. There it is as it comes in. Let me move this over a little bit. Right there. Now the one they are reporting is that one right there. Notice that? Long P wave. Same with this one. A long P wave. But it's much smaller. A lot of magma was coming into the system during this time frame, but I'm going to jump to this one, which is at 3:20 Universal Time. Also not being reported. Let's take a look at the signature. Not as long as the other ones for a P wave. We got another one here. Now this one has a long P wave. There's its signature. And we got several more over here. Take a look at its signature. Yeah, short P wave. And then we got some little stuff going on. This is what it was doing this morning when I pulled the files. About 7:30 this morning, Central Daylight Time. Yeah, long P wave. So those probably occurred, yeah, Utah or Idaho. Now this one here, let me pull it up if I can, is marked in red, which means the computer figures it probably happened somewhere close by. Now that one they're not reporting. And we got another one here at 3:13. That is probably the 3.3 in Idaho City. Again, that was by Sawtooth Mountain Range, Chalice, Idaho, where all those earthquakes have been going on. Down here in Utah, I did a report seeing how they believe that the Wasatch Fault Line has a 20% chance of having a major earthquake within the next 5 years. Half of all the people that live there in Utah feel that they are not prepared for a major earthquake, and they have, the majority of the people don't have the confidence that the government is prepared for a major earthquake along the Wasatch Fault Line. Looks like we got another earthquake coming in right now. Right there. This is the western boundary that I'm showing you. And this is what I pulled the files from. So it's showing up here, and it looks like it's also showing up at Madison River. Using Google Earth, I also wanted to show you the area of Old Faithful. This is from Google Maps. This is the area of Little Brother Geysers, or Geyser. It's a series of some small earthquakes that's become very active, and they've really been watching this from the camera that is mounted on the hotel. It would be this hotel, let's see, I believe right here, this one, hold on. Okay, it'd be this hotel right here, where they have the camera now mounted, and I'll bring this out so I give you an idea what they're looking at from this camera. Over here we have Old Faithful. This is the Firehole River. This is the area that I talked about in the last video, where part of the parking lot was flooded up over here. Remember that? Yeah, they zoomed in on this area, and this is all flooded over here. And let's take a look. And this is the area right here where the new geyser activity that's going on. Now you can see here from this image, this is as far as I can zoom in using Google Maps. It's green because, there was water coming up. But now they have it all marked off with some kind of wooden planking and construction cones. And I showed you how parts of the parking lot sediment has flown from here over these parking spaces. And yeah, you can see how much more debris than what's in this photo here. So here's the gift shop, and let's see if they'll zoom in. There's the parking lot. Some of it's still flooding. You can see the angle of the building, and let's see if they're going to zoom in on that one area or not. But this is the Brothers Geyser area. Looks like we got a Park Service employee going down the road. We got snow up on the mountains. There we go. This has become more active just recently. Yeah, I've been showing you images of it going off. The camera's not working very well. Stops and goes, stops and go. But you can see the heat that's coming up because of the steam. Yeah, lots of renewed activity going on there. Alright, so we'll zoom out again, and I'm going to show you this. That's the gift shop. And this is the hotel where the camera is mounted. And then over here is Little Brother Geyser. That's been showing the new activity. And then over here we got Old Faithful. I'll give you a link to this map, so as they do the live views, you can look at the different geysers and view what's going on. Not all the geysers are marked here on this map. So anyways, let's see. The last earthquake they are reporting is at 3:12, which would be what? With that one there? No, they didn't report that one. It would be this one right here. That's the last earthquake they are reporting. But we got more. We got a little one there. We got another one here. 4 lines of melt. A little bit larger one at 9/11. Now that's universal time. And then we got this more recent one, which I didn't pull a file because that just happened. 13, maybe 1302. That one just came in yet. Showing up at Yellowstone Lake also. but the last one they are reporting is at 312. But we got this at 842. We got another small one at 825, 827, and EMSC doesn't have any of those either. This is what it's showing recently on EMSC. Now this is from the European monitor, not here in the United States, but from Europe. Alright, here we have the monitor for Yellowstone Lake. 604, we got a sharp popping of the rock. There's another one right there. Let's look at its signature, brought up some heat. 638, more recent one at 1220. We got a thickening of the lines here. Doesn't really show a lot of activity other than the heat. Now, I only went back to yesterday, Sunday. Let me pull this up. We got another sharp popping of the rock. Let me take a look at the signature of this one here. Oops. There we go. This is all Yellowstone Lake. Then I noticed too today on the thumbnails how we had magma coming in during that one period. Look at this here. This is Holmes Hill, 1800. And we'll go back here. A lot of them were marked in red. Maple Creek between 1530 and almost midnight Universal Time. Over here is Universal Time. I'll pull it over so you can see. This would be Mountain Time. And we'll look at some more of these. If you look at it, most of the magma that is showing up on the charts is up over here by Heben Lake, western boundary, Mary Lake, Lake Butte. We got some activity. Moose Creek. Yeah, there is some activity at the eastern entrance, but I don't know what's been going on for a good 2 years with the monitor there at eastern entrance. I really don't know. So we'll go back to the, let's go to Purple Mountain. Purple Mountain always shows the activity a lot more on its monitors than, say, somewhere else. So here's that earthquake at about 3 o'clock. And then there it is at 3:02. Let's look at the signature that did show up at the western boundary. One they reported and one they did not. And then we got what? 3:52. And then the popping. Alright, here we have the monitor for Madison River. This one is marked in red. And yeah, that's the one they didn't report. The computer picked it up. Yeah, look at the heat that came up. Yeah, that is definitely a wow moment. Well, look at the signature. We got several. Well, I'll come across. We got several little pulses here. Oops. Yeah, it continued for a while. And we got the screw wave, the harmonic tremors, or volcanic tremors, one and the same. Yeah. And those that have followed me for a while will know that the Madison River area is the area when the caldera originally unzipped in a counterclockwise position. And then the two calderas, the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome, the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome, both decided to collapse at the same time, and that was for the last major eruption. But anyways, yeah, it did a counterclockwise unzipping that started in the Madison River. And this is the Madison River area. So we got 638. 5 seconds. 40 seconds. And this is what it was showing when I pulled the files. Yeah, a lot of activity. It's recharging. Up here, yeah, see that? Harmonic tremors. Look at all that activity. Yeah, the up and down. And then the thickening of the lines that I showed you from the thumbnails that was going on in the northwest area of the caldera. Well, it's not surprising. You got the magma that comes into the system, one from the Snake River Plateau and the other from the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, it comes up all the way up under the United States and then rising up there at the Yellowstone Caldera. Zooming out with Google Maps. This is the Snake River Plateau. Now, the Craters of the Moon National Park. I've talked about how there's been 40 smaller eruptions since the last major eruption. The Indian Native American folklore that's been passed down. This area erupted only about 2,000 years ago. About those smaller eruptions. They don't talk about that very much, USGS. And then, of course, we got all this activity at Sawtooth National Forest. Again, this is the Snake River Plateau. I've talked about the dike intrusion that happened before in the past. We got, the Craters of the Moon. This is where all the earthquakes are currently happening, up there at Sawtooth, near Chalice, Idaho. This eruption that was only about 2,000 years ago. And, those two that have followed me, I've talked about how they did not even know that they have volcanic cones, lava flows up in this area here until they started surveying only recently for a road. Yeah, they did not know that they had volcanic cones and lava in this area. These vents, volcanoes, the cones, erupted for a very long time. They kept flowing magma for about 150,000 years. And they only recently discovered this. The threat of volcanic eruptions was not taken serious until after Mount St. Helens erupted. They thought Mount St. Helens, too, was a dead volcano, dormant, no longer capable of having an eruption until after it did go off. Yeah, killing, 50 plus some people. It even caught the scientists off guard. They were too close and, died in its eruption. So once St. Helens went off, then they decided they were going to take a look at these other volcanoes and start doing some more research. Up until that point in time, very little research was done on any of these volcanoes, even Yellowstone. A lot of the monitors were not put in until 2008 and 2010 for Yellowstone. Yeah, that's when the monitors went in. I think they only had one monitor that was monitored by them that worked there in Hawaii up until about 2008 and 2010. So when they talk about data that they want to go by past things to compare it with what's going on now, they really don't have that much research when you figure 2008 or 2010. They've only been doing research maybe for the last 10 years in any serious manner on this supervolcano. Kind of a scary thought. So that is why the lava flows and the volcano cones weren't even known about in this area up until recently. They have called it boots on the ground, that they acquire dates of different eruptions. The park's been open for a very long time. They keep track of what the public, when they come there, put down in the notes, like Ear Spring. They said, well, Ear Spring, that was its first eruption in 70 years. Steamboat Geyser, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's because of the people that have visited the park and have documented what's been going on there. Not because of USGS and the Park Service. No, it's what they call the boots on the ground, the actual citizens who report what they have seen in the different logs. When they're looking at some buffalo. But anyways, that's all I have for you right now. If you have any thoughts or comments or questions, please put it down below. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for all of you who've been following me over the years. And I really appreciate that. Please stay safe. Be prepared for any type of disaster, especially those of you in Utah. And I'll talk to you later. God bless y'all. Bye.